that they're protecting and serving citizens so well in this state, the state police. So,
well, well, what did they find with the blood draw?
nothing so far. I mean, I haven't got the results of it. I do have a prelim Thursday at 8:30 in the morning, and
Tomorrow?
maybe we can straighten things out. Yes, is that Thursday? Yes, 8:30 in the morning. I have to be in Carroll Police Court.
Well, why then? Here's the question everyone asks, okay?
Yes,
Let me back
I'm
up.
listening.
If you're just tuning in, please hold on one second.
I will do this.
This
man.
is Tom. He rear-ended a car while driving southbound on Route 1 last Thursday. They thought he walks with a limp. He's had an injury. Over 10 years since his last
Yes.
DUI, multiple
Yes.
DUIs, but that was over 10 years ago. Clean, sober, has low insurance,
sir.
and his license. He passed breathalyzer, 3 breathalyzers.
Yes,
Was handcuffed for 8 hours, went to BD
Yes.
Medical Center. They withdrew your blood. They did all sorts of interrogation. How long were you interrogated totally? How many?
10 hours.
10 hours of interrogation. And you were, why then were you taken to SCI?
They thought they had enough base probable cause to get a warrant to arrest me for driving under the influence.
What was their
Bingo.
evidence?
Number 5. I don't know. Maybe I walk like a duck too. Have you noticed that? Besides the gimpy leg, I walk like a duck. I always have. My legs splay out. My feet splay out. That heel to toe thing, forget it. I can't do it. I could never do it. Anyway, when they used to do it to me.
Even though the blood test...
Forget the fact 10 years ago I didn't have the disc herniations. I still had issues with that because I walk like a duck and my feet are
All right, so Tom, the blood test results are not back. So,
as far as I know.
But you go then to jail.
Yes, sir.
And you've been in jail since last Thursday. How did you get out last night?
Someone bailed me out. Someone bailed me out the next day, actually, Dan. And it took 3 or 4 days for the bond to clear. So I was bailed out the day after I was arrested, actually.
How much was the bond, the bail?
$6,000 security. They put down $600 to get me out.
So somebody put $600 down to get you out, $6,000 secured.
Yes, sir.
And they did it the day after, but you just got out last night.
Yes, and the funny thing is, not funny. Anyway, 2 other youngsters. We all left the same time. We were bonded out, whatnot. Dan, I was at least a half of a mile ahead of them. 56-year-old with the gimpy leg. I wanted to get to that Exxon in Georgetown to get a little cash and try to get a taxi back to Milford and stuff. So,
and that's how you got back to...
I tailed it out of there. Faster than you used to say. Castro got out of Miami on a tricycle. That's what my dad used to say. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. So, listen, folks, look.
Dan, I don't cry too often. You never heard me cry. See me cry, have you? So,
no, I understand. You just got out of jail last night after being held, and you're telling me that you were not under the influence of anything.
No, other than what I'm prescribed, which I will bring to court, and my health records and my disability papers and my prescriptions and everything, and I might even wear a tie for goodness sake.
So Tom,
because again, Dan, the criminal justice system is a wonderful thing, and I love the judges. What a fine job they do. They're underrated. Nobody appreciates the common police court judge. They have a hard job, along with the police, Dan. And I'm thanking everybody who's been involved.
Look, you can be. Here's the point. Here's the point. You can be taken to jail for days, right? If you were to believe everything you've said, and there's no reason I don't, you can be taken to jail for days, even if somebody has bond, even if you only arrested on the suspicion of DUI.
I guess they had enough probable cause with my heel to toe, and my blood pressure was skyrocketing in there. Again, I go back to nuts and the dry mouth and the man on the street, Don. She used to be on the Steve Allen show. That one. Are you nervous? Nope. That one. So
right. So that's how you act during this situation.
Basically, yes. I was a wreck.
You were a wreck.
Mm-hmm.
You're scared.
Yes.
You're being accused of something. You had an accident, which is going to shake you up anyway. But you're being
the impact of that airbag. Let me tell you, it's something. Oh, it was. I've been in a severe car wreck in '82. It was shades of that. And thank goodness.
Was anybody hurt?
No,
was anybody hurt in the other car? Were they hurt?
No, sir. Okay. No, sir.
All right.
No ambulance was called, and we went to the hospital, and I remained in a fine condition.
Do you know? You don't know. Do you know who bailed you out?
Yes, I do, sir.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
I don't look. What are the toxicology? They must be looking for something other than alcohol.
I have some type of illicit narcotic, I assume, but since I do take a nerve blocker, there's going to be a level of it because I prescribed it, and that's it.
Look, because of your alcoholism, do you shy away from narcotics, even if they're prescribed?
Dan, I use it very sparingly. They give me certain directions with it, but Dan, I think I did. I described pain earlier in the conversation. It's like shooting fire down my thigh, like a lightning bolt of heat and fire.
Right.
I don't wish it on anybody, especially the state police.
Any
should
questions
never get paid
here?
Like that.
Do we have any questions from Kelly? Any questions come to mind? Kelly, for Tom, who is telling quite a story. I would assume this could happen to anybody.
If they have similar conditions that I have in a history. Oh, yes. I could see it happening, but they didn't believe me. I mean, who has their medical records? You know, if I'd have had a bottle of my pills on me, you were popping them like jelly beans, weren't you? Sure you were.
Right, you didn't have any. You didn't have any of your prescriptions with you.
No. I mean, that'd have been worse. I don't know what your situation is. Right? I have no idea. I knew I couldn't prove it at the time. You know, I didn't have any paperwork on me.
Hold on, Kelly has a question. Kelly,
Tom,
yes,
were they? When the police got to the scene, you said the driver of the other car or a passenger had gotten out and was screaming and irate because you had run into them.
Basically.
I'm glad everybody's okay. Let me say
yes.
that.
Me too.
Okay, so they did the breathalyzer test on you, but you said that was inconclusive, so that's why they wanted you to go to BB?
Inconclusive. I blew zeros three times.
Yeah, it was conclusive. He blew zeros 3 times.
Two on the scene and one at Troop 7.
Okay.
Because he's disabled
another
and
fine,
he slurs.
Another fine outpost of the Delaware State Police, and what a fine job they do, Dan. I can't say it enough.
Stop being sarcastic, Tom. Come on.
Hey,
Knock it
Tom,
off.
at any point, because of your disability and your slurring of speech and you're not being able to walk properly, at any time, did they request your doctor's name and number?
Yes.
And you provided all of
names.
that?
Yes, I did.
Okay. So why couldn't they have made a phone call once the breathalyzer came back and was fine? Why couldn't they have made a call to your doctor and gotten further proof that you are a disabled man from the doctor, rather than throwing you in jail, is what I'm saying?
Well, maybe they were busy doing other fine related or unrelated police work, and they can't bother with that stuff at the time of your arrest,
Right.
Getting warrants and locking you up and chaining you and taking blood pressure. You can't expect them to do everything, Kelly.
Listen,
gosh.
Tom, we're up against a break. If anybody has any comment, about this story that we have struggled through with Tom here to hear. First of all, I'm glad you're out,
Dan?
Tom. Yes.
Dan, have I told a relatively linear version of it, I hope?
What?
Have I told a relatively linear version of it, I hope?
Relatively, yes.
Well, thank you, Dan. I appreciate that. I'm doing the best I can with the tools I have. So.
I understand. Listen, I thank you. Look, in all seriousness...
I'm still nervous, Rick.
In all seriousness, Tom.
I've been up all night, Dan.
Your story is shocking to me. In all seriousness, it's shocking to me what happened. And I have a hard break, and we have things we have to do, but I will invite my audience, if they have something to say, they can do so after this break. Okay, thank you, Tom. Got to take a break. It's time for
Local news first on Delaware 105.9.
Delaware 105.9 news time is 5:59. Good morning, everyone. I'm Kelly Steele from the Weather Center. Another nice day in store for us across Delmarva. Mix of sun and clouds today, high 72. Delaware Supreme Court is all set to hear an appeal by a death row inmate convicted in a Wilmington barbershop shooting that left 2 people dead, including a young child. Today's hearing involves an appeal by Chauncey Starling, who was convicted of the 2001 killings of 28-year-old Darnell Evans and 5-year-old Damon Gist Jr. NASA today will be launching a suborbital Black Brant 9 sounding rocket from the Wallops Flight Facility down in Accomack County, Virginia. That rocket is scheduled to blast off tonight between 7 and 9 o'clock. The mission of the suborbital Black Brant 9 sounding rocket is designed to test some new technology. From the first town in the first state, this is WXDE Lewis. 56 degrees this morning on the beach in Lewis.
Delaware 105.9.
It's 6 o'clock.
CBS News, I'm Frank Sedapani. Millions of Volkswagen owners could start getting recall notices early next year. Live to CBS News correspondent Vicki Barker.
VW's new CEO says January is the likely start date, with all of the refits completed by the end of 2016. Roughly 11 million diesel VW vehicles worldwide carry software designed to mislead pollution monitors. Martin Miller telling a German newspaper most can be fixed with a simple update, but others may need new injectors and catalyzers. He says he's willing to go to America to apologize personally once his schedule opens up. Frank?
Negotiations have not broken off, but the United Auto Workers Union has told Fiat Chrysler a strike could be called at any time.
Wages, schedules, and a 2-tier pay system are the main issues as the union and Fiat Chrysler try to work out a deal that's more palatable than the one that workers overwhelmingly rejected.
CBS's Jeff Gilbert in Detroit. Flooding in the past week has claimed 15 lives in South Carolina and 2 more in North Carolina. Angela Cole and her family are lucky to be alive. They were in the attic of their home in Columbia. The water was inches from the top, but a neighbor saw Cole's SOS on Facebook.
We're alive, and that's all that matters. My kids are safe.
Some rivers are still rising, but after a day with no rain, emergency official Jim Beasley is hopeful.
Some roads are now reopening. However, we've also found that some roads were damaged, possibly even washed away in the flooding.
For families with loved ones on the cargo ship that sank near the Bahamas during Hurricane Joaquin, the terrible reality is beginning to sink in.
I'm pretty sure there are no survivors. You don't go through a hurricane like that.
Mary Chevery's daughter was one of the ship's 33 crew members. The Coast Guard has not stopped searching, but has not found any signs of life. Overseas, Syrian troops backed by Russian warplanes are reportedly fighting insurgents in the first major ground battle since Russia began launching airstrikes last week. The Syrian opposition group says it's the most intense fighting in months. The state of Texas carried out an execution last night. Prison spokesman Robert Hurst says Juan Martin Garcia was put to death for a fatal shooting during an $8 robbery.
Garcia was convicted of capital murder and sentenced to death for the September 1998 robbery and killing of Hugh Solano, a Christian missionary from Mexico who had recently moved his family to Houston so that his children could be educated in the United States.
We have breaking news from Stockholm, Sweden.
The Royal Swedish Academy of Sciences
has decided...
3 scientists will share this year's Nobel Prize in Chemistry for work showing how cells repair damaged DNA. Sweden's Thomas Lindahl, Paul Modric of the United States, and Turkish-born Aziz Sankar are the winners. The Houston Astros will move on to the next round of postseason play. They shut out the New York Yankees 3-0 in the American League Wild Card game. Pittsburgh plays Chicago tonight in the National League Wild Card. S&P futures are up 10 points. This is CBS News.
The more you learn about your insurance coverage, the more gaps you might find. Like how you thought you had enough coverage for your fine art.
You broke my Quenelle lioness sculpture.
When you aren't even covered for your not-so-fine art.
You broke my Mr. Banana lamp.
Or how you're probably covered for hitting this car, but maybe not covered for hitting this car. Talk to a farmer's agent about what gaps might be hiding in your insurance.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
Hey neighbor, it's me, that guy 2 desks away that never takes a sick day. Seriously, you can always count on me to show up even if I feel terrible. Which reminds me, I have the flu, and if you're one of the 63% of people that didn't get their flu shot, you can get it from me. You really should get a flu shot at Rite Aid, where you'll also get a free cold and flu protection plan to protect you from people like me. Another reason Rite Aid says with us, it's personal.
Flu vaccines available while supplies last. Age restrictions apply in some states. See pharmacist for details.
Delaware 105.9 news time is 6:04. Good morning, everybody. Voters in the Milford School District last night passing an operating referendum. Delaware 105.9's Joe Irizarry was there.
1,621 residents voted for it, while 1,282 voted against it. That breaks down 56% for and 44% against. This means taxes will go up to $140 for the average homeowner in the district. It also means the district will not have to ask the state for financial help. Milford Superintendent Dr. Phyllis Cole.
This will allow us to be competitive with teacher salaries, again, something that we've been lacking for several years. It will allow us to start putting back programs that we've had to cut because of deficit spending, so it's huge for this district.
The results are expected to become official sometime on Wednesday. In Milford, I'm Joe Irizarry, Delaware 105.9.
Thank you, Joe. A house fire in Selbyville is under investigation. Firemen from Selbyville and several other departments, including Bishopville and Roxana, got the call just after 1 Tuesday afternoon. Arriving units say they found heavy smoke and flames coming from the front room of the home on Lighthouse Road. No injuries reported in that blaze. A body is found behind the Newcastle Farmers Market. Newcastle City Police called to Airport Plaza Tuesday morning. They say they found a woman dead in the parking lot. Police say the woman appears to be in her early 20s, though she hasn't been identified just yet. It's unclear whether foul play is suspected. About 100 people got an up-close and personal concert from American Idol winner Nick Fradiani. Fradiani stopped in Wilmington to serenade a group of lucky contest winners last night. Since winning season 14 of American Idol, Fradiani says he's been on a whirlwind of concerts and promotional stops.
And working on the album and the writing and the recording and everything, so it's crazy, but like I always say, it's what I've always wanted. So, I'm just thankful that, I'm able to do this.
Fradiani will perform with dozens of others at Live in the Vineyard in California next month. A Delaware couple won a grand prize trip to the concert in Napa Valley through our sister station, WSTW. Delaware 105.9 news time is 6:06.
Let's face it, installing a septic system and keeping it in good working order is one chore you'd rather leave to someone else. But choosing the right someone is critical. It's a good reason to trust Midway Services, earning your confidence for more than 25 years throughout Kent and Sussex counties. Call Midway Services today, 422-8603. That's 422-8603.
In the American League wildcard game last night, Colby Rasmus and Carlos Gomez hit solo homers off of Masahiro Tanaka. Dallas Keuchel tossed 6 shutout innings, striking out 7 as Houston beat the Yankees 3-0. The Astros now face Kansas City in the division series starting tomorrow night. On the high school scoreboard in field hockey, Cape beat Lake Forest 2-1, but it was the first goal of the season allowed by the Vikings, and Spartan goalie Allison Bishop made 34 saves just to keep it close. Milford beat Smyrna 2-1, Tech topped Woodbridge 2-1, Delmar cruises past Central 7-0, CR beat Indian River 4-0, and Dover slammed Seaford 8-0. In boys soccer, Cape beat Red Lion 4-0, Seaford topped Public Safety 11-1, Delmar over St. Thomas More 2-1, Polytech beat DMA 2-1, and Smyrna over Wilmington Christian 3-1. And in NBA preseason action, Otto Porter led the Wizards with 22 points as they cruised past the Sixers 129-95. Jahlil Okafor had 12 points in his Sixers debut. That's Schofield on Sports on Delaware 105.9.
From the Delaware 105.9 Weather Center, mix of sun and clouds for your Wednesday. That would be today. A high of 72 degrees, clear tonight. An overnight low of 56 on Thursday. Lots of sunshine, a high of 70. On Friday, increasing clouds in the afternoon. Maybe a spotty shower. Really? A high of 77 degrees. Out the door temps this morning. 57 in Rehoboth. It's 56 on the Circle in Georgetown. Also 56 on the beach in Lewis right now. I'm Kelly Steele in the Delaware 105.9 newsroom. More of the Dan Gaffney Show coming up on Delaware 105.9.
Well, in the first half hour, listener Tom of Milford telling his... Were you listening to that? Any comment here? In short, 839-1059. I didn't have a chance to take calls. If you have any comment on what Tom was saying. Tom was in an accident last Thursday. Tom has previous DUIs. It's been 10 years since his last DUI. He's been open about that. He ran into someone, his fault, not paying attention. They were not hurt. His airbags were deployed, Route 1 south. Tom has a slurring speech a bit and is currently disabled. He's got the bulging discs and whatever. He was accused of, the suspicion that he may have been under the influence because he had an accident, the way he's talking, walking, and his previous record. I would think any reasonable police officer would think that. They begin questioning him. He says he blew on a portable breathalyzer and it was 0.0. He said during the course of this, 10 hours, he claims 10 hours of interrogation, handcuffed, 8. Either handcuffed or handcuffed to a wall. He blew 0.0 3 different times, he claims. They wanted to do a blood draw. They went to BB, they got a warrant, and they went to BB Medical Center and withdrew his blood for a blood test. But the blood test apparently doesn't come back for days, or you don't know for days. So they charged him and took him to jail. Let's go get a blood draw and see if this guy's on something. Well, okay, how long is it going to take to get those results back? I could kind of see when the results come back, driving up to Tom's house and then arresting him at that point. But I'm not so sure I'm comfortable with, we have no idea whether you're guilty of anything or not, DUI related, but we're going to arrest you for it anyway, just in case. That's the unusual part, to me. So he was taken to SCI. He says he was bailed out the next day, but the bond or the bail had to be cleared, and he just got out last night, Tuesday night. John Brady is here. John Brady, attorney, has dealt with a lot of different cases. John, what do you make of it?
He's not going to like my response, but that's normal procedure.
Normal procedure.
And let me explain it from the law enforcement view and explain the rights he's got in there. What happened was, as you related it, it all makes perfect sense to me. They have suspicion of somebody driving impaired. Impaired can be two forms under Delaware law now. One form is under the influence of alcohol.
Right.
So they did the preliminary screening test, which is called a portable breath test, which is only admissible pass or fail. But it is a clue. You have from his statements that he had an accident, it was his fault.
Yep.
There is a high propensity of people that are under the influence that have accidents, automobile accidents. It's one of the clues that you look at under the National Highway Transportation Safety Administration, or NHTSA, and their screening tests. He may have been offered other screening tests, section of your alphabet, numbers backwards. From
he admitted he had trouble. He has trouble with the heel-toe walking and different things of that nature.
Right. Then there are the three physical tests. They're all called divided attention tests because they have you focus on two things simultaneously, like walking heel to toe on a straight line, going 9 steps, doing a pivot turn, 3 or 4 small steps, and then coming back 9 steps.
Right.
They look and see if you can follow directions and if you can accurately perform the test. That's where the divided attention comes. Everybody knows their alphabet from, Sesame Street singing A, B, C, D, E, F, G, so they don't do the entire alphabet. They do a section. Many of the troopers and other police officers they start at a fixed point like the letter E, and then at the point P, and they want to see if you can think of the alphabet from just those letters and say it starting and ending. Or they'll have you go backwards from like 87 to 73, which is not something you normally think of doing, and so you have to concentrate. That's how they can check your divided attention.
Got it. I understand.
Okay. Now, if the breath test comes in 0.00
or whatever,
right, that's not enough. So what they do is they go do a legal blood draw. And a couple years ago, they had that case from California where you have to or from St. Louis, Missouri, you have to either consent, I let you take my blood freely, or they have to present all the facts to a judge for a blood draw. So the facts are presented as follows. Operator was operating a motor vehicle on a highway in Delaware. Operator hit another vehicle. Field tests were given. The operator had problem on the field tests. Wherefore, I asked the court to issue a search warrant so I may seize a sample of his blood for testing.
Right. Which
Once
they did.
That's done, the problem and the question you have asked is, how long does this take to test the blood? 3 to 6 weeks.
Insane.
And so at that point, you have somebody with an accident, you have a search warrant for the blood, and how the procedure has been going is once they have that, the person can be arrested for DUI, have a bond hearing in front of a judge. A judge sets a bond, because we have judges available.
In this case, he said it was $6,000 secured.
Right, so that means he would have had to post
$600
to a bail bondsman. And sometimes it takes up to a week or 2 weeks to get your bond posted, or it's never posted. You sit in jail until your trial date.
Unacceptable. I think. Am I wrong
I'm just here for background.
I know, but am I wrong there in saying unacceptable 3 to 6 weeks, unacceptable for so long on the bond? Am I right or wrong? Because we're in prison. We have human beings in a cage. We have human beings in a cage here, and why does it take so long?
Well, because the state lab that handles it has been under a lot of scrutiny, and so they send it. The state police have a laboratory in Dover that tests blood, and that's separate from the former medical examiner's lab that tests drug samples. And so the sample is processed, taken up to Dover by a courier, logged in, and tested. And then after the results come back, they will send it as the discovery issue to the court. And then the process will go on for a trial. DUI trials in the courts in Delaware are usually 10 weeks after you've been arrested at the earliest.
So technically, what you're saying to me is that he could have technically sat in that jail up to 6 weeks, right? And the blood test can come back negative.
Correct.
And that's all okay.
I didn't say it was okay. I just say that's the process.
Wow.
The problem and the reason why, if he had never had a previous DUI, it probably would have been released to a sober person.
Probably, but not necessarily, right? I mean, it still could go.
Not necessarily.
Yeah.
And remember, a judge sees that person for the first time on the video phone, and if on the video phone he was still exhibiting issues where he may have had his slurring speech, things like that, the court could have kept the bond in place.
Right.
Now, apparently he had somebody post his bond after a week.
He said they did it the next day, but it took a while to post.
Usually when bond is posted, you're released within 24 to 36 hours unless there's something else holding you.
Gotcha. Well, it could have been 36 hours if they did it Saturday and then he got out on Tuesday. I mean, it's close.
That's right, because he also could have had his bond reviewed on Monday. If he goes in on a weekend, usually there's a bond review on Monday.
Well, yeah, because the thing happened on Thursday, and he said he was held for like 10 hours, so that would be late Thursday night. And then let's say somebody bailed him out on Friday. Saturday, Sunday, Monday, he got out on Tuesday. I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah, it could have been fitted within the process. I'm just explaining the process. I'm just...
Yeah, right. Do you think it's a good process?
The concerns are balanced. I know of cases where someone was released at the scene for DUI, given the paperwork, and they were stopped an hour later for DUI again. So that's why they tow the vehicles now, and they separate the person from driving, because they don't want to put somebody, an impaired driver, back on the road. There have been liability decisions against police departments in other states, not
Here's
in
a weird
Delaware.
thing. When you really look at it from a bird's eye view here, John, the weird thing is, right now, Tom is out, and he will remain out, and he'll be out driving and everything else. The same thing as if he would have not been taken to put in a cage for 5 days. And the outcome's really the same, because we're still waiting for weeks more until we get the blood test back.
That's correct.
Crazy. All right. How long, like, assuming no backlog, how long does a blood screen take? Let's say there was no backlog and the lab was open and ready for business and you walked in with some blood. How long does it take them to find out?
Well, and the testing protocol they have to do is, I'm going to try and briefly explain it. What they do is, you can't just go in, put in a microscope, look, and say, yeah, okay, it's got that.
Yeah.
You have to go through a process which takes about 3 hours. And they usually test 20 to 30 samples simultaneously.
Okay.
Because they have to put it in a machine that spins it around, and they extract the sample. They compare it against test samples to come up with what the alcohol per
right, and they go down the list. They look for opioids. They look for all different things right down the list.
Correct.
Right. Okay.
They go through that. So the blood test, it's not like the quick and dirty test you do when you're in the ER. Even though they take an ER, or some places they have contracts with nurses who come in and take the test. It's a very scientific process that takes some time to do.
I understand.
It's not like you watch a TV show and they take them in, okay, we've checked, and you come back this way, you're a little dirty for this or this. That's what I just call a screening test. and so they screen it. Testing and stuff is very complicated these days. You also have to look at the chain of custody. Did they follow the right procedures? Was it refrigerated? There are a lot of things when a defense attorney looks and a prosecutor looks at how the test was done and came back, and is it reliable?
Right. Well, again, I don't know if you know the answer, but assuming I have one of these labs, I'm open for business today, I have no backlog, and you walk in with a vial of blood or two, or whatever they take, how long would it take?
In a perfect world, you'd be able to know in 6 hours.
Okay. We're at 6 weeks. 3 to 6. Right?
We're at 3 to 6 weeks now for the process. That's correct. Then a prosecutor will look over everything and say, here's what the plea offer is going to be made. And I tell you, there have been the growing things that are coming up in tests. Ambien is showing up. There's had test results where the NyQuil, there was enough alcohol in the NyQuil to call a positive sample.
Mm-hmm.
And people sometimes take their medication and feel, I got to go run and take care of something. And under the revisions with prescription drugs, they're under the influence of a drug while driving, and that's technically what DUI is.
So he technically, even though he has prescriptions, even though they're non-narcotic, could he technically still get a DUI?
That's correct. And after December, then now that the state has legalized marijuana for personal use, for like a little ticket, a civil ticket, if you smoked a joint and then you go driving a few hours later, you technically would be under the influence because it's still zero tolerance for marijuana.
And so they're going to be doing a lot of those tests, right? They're still going to get you for DUI. That's right.
They're still going to get you for DUI.
All right, John Brady, thanks for telling us the process. I appreciate you being up this morning. Thank you very much.
Take care, Dan.
All right, so how about that? So, Kelly, I don't like the length of time here at all, obviously. I think when you're taking human beings and putting them in cages and chaining them against walls and stuff, I am really thinking we need to be a little faster here. But he could still get a DUI.
Here's what I have a problem with. At some point during that conversation, and I wanted to interject, but I didn't want to interrupt, John Brady said that while the judge was viewing him for his, it wasn't a preliminary hearing, his video hearing, his initial video hearing with the judge. The judge I think John's verbiage may have still seen him slurring his words. And, well, he's always going to slur his words. He's disabled. He's always going to walk funny because he's disabled.
That's right.
I don't understand.
All right. Let's take a call from Jeff Coyne Laundry, who's calling. Hi, Jeff Coyne Laundry.
Hey, good morning, Dan. How are you today?
Good. Thanks for calling.
Hey, it's not necessarily related to this, but with the process that drives me nuts. Earlier this summer in June, we had somebody break into our store in Pocono. Guys come out, they dust for fingerprints and all this stuff. So I'm thinking to myself, if they find some fingerprints good, the person has to be in the system, it could be my fingerprint. We'll know in a couple of weeks. He told me the last fingerprints they sent off took 1 year to get the results. I told him I'd punch him in his face if he took 1 year and they were my fingerprints. Obviously, I was joking. But come on. And this, too, 3 to 6 weeks to get a blood test result with today's technology, and you're going to put somebody, like you said, in a cage, which could be innocent. It's ridiculous.
I agree. We ought to make that a top priority. If we don't have enough centrifuges or whatever spins the blood and scientists standing there with the lab coat on, let's hire a bunch more. That is unreasonable.
I think if you went to BB to test it, they run the test, they charge you, there at the time for the test and the results, and 6 hours later, that person has an answer. Or you do a preliminary, and if it doesn't have enough flags to test it further to save you money, you'll test it further.
Yeah, do the quick and dirty. You don't arrest him on the spot, but you can always arrest him later if the full test comes back and you learn something. Am I right? Look, even people who are under suspicion of murder, when a baby dies in their custody, they don't have any evidence at the spot. They may, in their mind, think, hey, I think this lady might have drugged this kid. They have it in their mind. They don't charge her. They wait for toxicology to come back. Then they charge her. So they're even more lenient in those cases than they were in this case.
Yeah, I know. It does sound ridiculous. And, maybe he'll find something out in a couple weeks. But, yeah, to go in there, absolutely is crazy.
But ultimately, I thought it was very telling that our friend Tom still could get a DUI, even though the drugs he was on were prescription.
Yeah, it's unacceptable.
Thank you for the call. Listen, it's 6:28. Back in a minute.
Let's face it, installing a septic system and keeping it in good working order is one chore you'd rather leave to someone else. But choosing the right someone is critical. It's a good reason to trust Midway Services, earning your confidence for more than 25 years throughout Kent and Sussex counties. Call Midway Services today, 422-8603. That's 422-8603.
It's back to school time for area students. Volunteers are needed at the Food Bank of Delaware's Milford branch to help prepare and pack meals for kids at risk of after-school and weekend hunger. Volunteering is a fun and easy way to give back to the community, and you can make a difference in the lives of Delaware children. To learn more or to sign up, please visit fbd.org/volunteer in Milford or call 302-393-2011. Is your family in need of free meals? Dial 211 for Delaware. 211, the state's Health and Human Services Hotline.
Commercial buildings all over Delmarva need energy-efficient and reliable roofing services. Protect your business with Delmarva Roofing and Coating. Specializing in residential, commercial, and industrial roofing systems, Delmarva Roofing and Coating has built a reputation for quality. With a Conklin system installed by Delmarva Roofing and Coating, the roof of your business will be able to withstand the weather and last for decades while consistently lowering your heating and air conditioning costs. Increase the lifespan of your roof and choose the roofing leaders of Delmarva. Delmarva Roofing and Coating. Find out more at delmarvaroofing.com.
Identity theft is a crime that affects millions of Americans each year. Defend yourself against identity theft at a free community shred event sponsored by the Delaware Attorney General's Office. Bring up to 3 boxes of documents with personal info and shred them on Saturday, October 10th from 9 to 1 at the Del Dot Administration Building, just south of the 13113 split in Dover. That's Saturday, October 10th from 9 to 1. Learn more by visiting attorneygeneral.delaware.gov or call 1-800-220-5424.
Delaware 105.9 news time is 6:30. Good morning, everyone. I'm Kelly Steele. Federal health officials say the outbreak of Salmonella puna infections from imported cucumbers has reached Maryland. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention says that brings the total number of affected states to 35. 4 deaths have been reported from Salmonella puna, and more than 700 have been infected. The Salmonella has been found in cucumbers grown in Mexico and distributed by a San Diego company. Residents in the Milford School District approving an operating referendum by a 56% to 44% margin. 1,621 residents voted for it last night, while 1,282 people voted against that referendum. CBS News covers the nation and the world next. News time, 6:31.
CBS News update. Volkswagen, that car maker with millions of cars to check out following the emissions testing scandal. And now there's a timetable for recalls. Details now. CBS's Vicki Barker joins us live.
On the day VW was legally required to present a timetable to German regulators, CEO Martin Müller says the first recall notices should go out in January, with all of the remedial work completed by the end of 2016. He says most of the diesel vehicles with software designed to cheat air pollution monitors can be fixed with a simple update, but others may need new catalyzers and injectors. Why the seemingly late start date? In his words, care more important than speed. Dave?
That schedule comes a day before Volkswagen's top U.S. executive heads to Capitol Hill to testify before Congress. Last month, VW said 11 million diesel vehicles had been produced with illegal software. It was just last Friday that the company began telling consumers specifics. CBS News Update, I'm Dave Barrett.
Southern States of Milford has been serving Lower Delaware for over 60 years, keeping your lawns and gardens green and beautiful year-round. Southern States of Milford is your source for Echo, Steel, and Exmark power equipment. Southern States of Milford is the place for agricultural feed, pet, outdoor, and fuel needs. Need mulch, fertilizer, and landscaping supplies? Your local experts at Southern States of Milford have you covered. Call 422-8066. Southern States of Milford on Williamsville Road. Farmer owned since 1923.
All right. Tom is back with us. Tom from Milford. Hey, Tom, you heard John Brady talk about the process that seemed to be just the way it goes, status quo, and not that unusual necessarily.
First off, Kelly and you guys, I appreciate Mr. Brady's input most of all. I don't slur my speech due to my disability. I stammer. I stutter. Sometimes people confuse my appearance. I've been called Jim Ignatowski at times, that kind of thing. However, Dan, I had several shirt-sleeve jailhouse lawyers inform me that if you're on the prescription I'm taking, no pharmacist, no doctor told me under no circumstances can you drive with this. There is a minor warning that says operate machinery with care. I was trying to adjust the defroster for crying out loud. That's pretty
look, I get it. I'm not saying you were under the influence. I'm not saying that.
Yes.
I'm just saying based on what John Brady said. That doesn't mean the police might not still charge you.
It's a common nerve blocker used by diabetics and epileptics.
Right. There are a lot of common drugs. There are a lot of common drugs that can still get you a DUI.
He was.
Right.
There was no NyQuil or funny over-the-counter stuff or Justan or none of that business. So this is a prescribed thing that says operate machinery with caution, don't mix with alcohol, which I've been doing and not doing religiously. So,
right.
That's my story. I'm sticking to it. And just wish me luck Thursday morning with possibly Judge Beauregard. So.
All right. Yes, I will.
Another fine agent of juris.
But I think you would agree. I think you would agree that having to wait so long, technically, you could still be in jail. You don't have any. I guess there's no one. You don't live with anyone. You have no family close nearby. You could just be like gone off the radar for 6 weeks, and no one would have even known you're in jail. Do they give you phone calls? Do they give you phone calls?
Well, that was another thing. Dan, I just got a new phone, and I hadn't transferred all the numbers with the names and stuff, and I didn't remember the important person I should have called. However, the important person was worried about me, and that's the one that bailed me out. So,
okay, luckily you had somebody that was watching out for you. But if you didn't have that one person, watching out for you, you'd still be sitting in jail.
I think at the preliminary, I would have been able to contact, through my public defender I have now, other people.
Right, okay. Like
who
tomorrow.
might have had an interest in bailing me out, yeah.
You'd be at least there till tomorrow.
Minimum, even one of you guys are crying out loud.
Right, we could take up a collection to bail you out.
Yes. I'll go fund Tom, get him out of jail, like send this boy to camp and get him out of jail fund.
All right. Well, it was an interesting story. Thanks for telling it, Tom.
It was. You're welcome, pal.
Good luck. Let us know what happens tomorrow. 839-1059. Fascinating. Right? Am I off base in thinking we need to make that a better system? Is that really out of line? I mean, I'm not criticizing. I'm just saying if that's the norm, that you can be arrested, taken to jail, and a lab test on a blood test could be 3 to 6 weeks. I don't think that's acceptable. I just don't.
It is my opinion.
I don't think it's acceptable.
It has been for a long time. The system is flawed. That's my opinion.
Right. Takes too long. There's a lot of people in the system, so it takes a long time. Maybe, and that's always been my complaint. It just seems, and they treat it like it's normal, like this is like normal course of business. You just go to jail, sit in a cage for days.
That's ridiculous.
It seems crazy.
They should be able to draw your blood and within at least 24 hours get a result back.
Or like Jeff Coyne
in my
Laundry said.
opinion.
Like Jeff Coyne Laundry said. We're going to hold this case open. A preliminary screen doesn't show anything, but we always reserve the right to come get you later. Let's drive you home.
You go
it would
home.
Be cheaper.
You live your life. We'll come get you if we need you.
Let me tell you something. It would have been cheaper. You want to look at it from a financial point of view? It would have been cheaper to have a police officer put Tom in the back of his car and drive him to Milford and put him in his house.
Yes.
It would have been cheaper.
Yes.
Drive him home.
Absolutely. Make sure
we
he
may
gets
come
home
back
safely.
later and arrest you.
Right. We reserve the right to come back later and talk to you, get you whatever we need to do. But in the meantime, we're going to take you home safely.
Right. Here's an Uber. We'll call Uber for you. Take you home. I mean, that might have been cheaper. Tony in Bethany Beach, hello.
Hello, Dan.
Good morning.
Good morning. If I'm right about what I've heard, I got one big problem with this. It was the police who mishandled things and cheated with drugs and whatnot, and I guess these tests, maybe they caused all this, you know. So
Were you talking about the medical examiner?
yes, my thought is
the mishandling of evidence thing was happening at the medical examiner's level.
it would cost us taxpayers, but it seems to me in this kind of case, and I don't know how many this would pile up, but they should have to send this blood directly to BB and pay the cost. Or maybe, I don't know. But
They take it to a lab. John Brady explained it goes to a very scientific lab.
I know, but it
it's
goes,
3 to 6 weeks.
Yeah, but if it went straight to say BB, you can get those tests back pretty darn quick,
I don't know.
right?
I have no idea.
Oh yeah, you can go and do blood,
But
and
when
you
peop-
say you got a.
But when people look, I don't care. You could set up your own lab in every town, as far as I'm concerned, because you're talking about people being held in cages, human beings put in cages for days and days while you're waiting for a lab test.
And that's not right, and it's because of your own internal problems that you're causing this problem with the offenders or so-called offenders.
Right.
So why not they pay the cost and get it done quick? You can do blood, and doctors often say I want you to do this blood a week or at least 4 or 5 days a week before you come and see me. I want to see the results, and they always get them.
Right.
Always get them back.
Mm-hmm.
So
we do a drug test when they hire people here at this company, and you can go in and pee in a cup on a Tuesday and get the answer on a Wednesday, and they know if you're on anything to be suspicious of.
urinalysis results are really quick. They can do those right in some doctor's offices while you wait, at least to clear up one thing or another, not maybe everything, but.
Right.
Yeah, it seems like they're putting the onus on people that they're trying to prosecute or trying to figure out why they should.
I wonder if they do like I wonder if they keep a vial of the blood that was drawn at that same time so that the accused can have a chance to go back later and do the test. I wonder if they do that. Because, there's another thing, and this is the lawyer in me talking, and because I would want another lab, an independent lab, to do a test as well. If I was being accused of something, I would want to double check.
And definitely when you're the one on the hot seat, you want to be sure.
All right. Hey, listen, thanks for the call, Tony. Let's take another call on this. Here's Paul in Georgetown. Paul, yes.
Hey, Dan, as far as just going to a hospital and doing the blood work, I didn't catch what I thought John said something about it's a state contract, where before we used to send the blood up to the state police headquarters. But it has to do, you just can't go to any hospital and get it done, or any lab and get it done, because there's a chain of custody, and they're probably trained to handle it, whoever the contractor is.
Absolutely.
So, they can't.
And it's a very detailed test that could take hours, because they're testing for a lot of different things, screening for a lot of different things, yeah.
But, I mean, I don't understand why any blood work takes 6 to 8 weeks in this day
3 to 6 weeks. 3 to 6 weeks.
Well, 3 to 6. I mean, that's just ridiculous in my opinion. But, I mean, I used to...
Isn't it made more ridiculous when potentially...
Well,
someone is sitting in jail. Someone is been taken to a jail and being held during that time.
Yeah, because you've caused an issue there. You're holding a guy in jail that the taxpayers are going to have to pay to keep him there, and he hasn't even been tried yet. So, I mean, I think there's things that could be done that might, expedite things and not have the person be sitting in jail eating up taxpayers' dollars.
All right. Thanks for the call, Paul. Paul was a cop, a town police officer at one point. Anyway, good to hear you. 643 Delaware 105.9. Okay.
Are you looking to buy a new mattress and want to know you're getting the best deal at a store that will stand behind their product? Look no further. Hi, I'm Chris Adams, owner of Mattress Peddlers, your local family-owned Serta and Kingsdown mattress retailer. We have 27 floor models to try with mattress sets starting at $349. Two-sided mattresses, futons, bunk beds, headboards, waterbed parts and accessories, and free same-day local delivery. Visit our website, mattresspeddlers.com, or stop in today on Route 24 in Peddlers Village and sleep on a better bed tonight.
Your home could be under silent attack. The enemy? Moisture that becomes trapped within the building envelope. Even in new construction, moisture creates mold growth, which can trigger upper respiratory illness, coughing and wheezing in otherwise healthy individuals. And it can bring on symptoms of patients with asthma or pneumonia. Want to ensure that your home won't be conducive to mold growth? Call the experts at Sussex Environmental, 302-947-1810. Learn more at sussexenvironmental.com.
Let's face it, saving money isn't always fun. It's great to save money, but sometimes you want to treat yourself to dinner at a new restaurant or indulge at the spa. You can save money and enjoy life with GetItHalfOff.com. Every week, brand new featured offers hit the online shelves of GetItHalfOff.com. Your life at half price. GetItHalfOff.com.
This week's featured offers include Bottom of the Hill Bar and Grill in Rising Sun, Casa de Pizza in Laurel, and Camp Spooky Nah in Oxford, PA.
Hi folks, Alan Thicke here. For some time now, I've been offering tips about how to deal with the IRS if you've fallen behind on your taxes. Telling you to call Optima Tax Relief because they're the best trained, most trustworthy, blah, blah, and blah. But now the message is so familiar, you may not be listening. Oh, it's him again. Well, here's the important message. Call Optima Tax Relief. They can help you resolve your IRS issues. The government, can garnish your wages. They can levy your bank account, even take your home or business. To be fair, the IRS also has a new program called the Fresh Start Initiative to help you with that debt. So we've given you clever slogans. Don't mess with the IRS. They'd rather settle for less than bother you more. Now the clever thing for you to do is call Optima Tax Relief now for your free consultation.
Call 800-956-6166. 800-956-6166. 800-956-6166. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Rehoboth Shores, just off Long Neck Road in Millsboro, would like to invite you to visit the area and share the beautiful scenery, hometown history, and culture, and all of the good life Southern Delaware has to offer.
Rehoboth Shores has brand new 3-bedroom, 2-bath homes being delivered. Come see the new floor plans and get pre-approved for your new single-wide home today. Private community building, beach, marina, and boat ramp, some of the area's best crabbing and fishing, pool, picnic, and playground areas, and so much more. Located in the Indian River School District, Rehoboth Shores has mobile home rentals and lots available, and they're located just minutes away from Rehoboth Beach, golfing, outlet shopping, and great dining. Come see the new floor plans and check out your new home today.
Rehoboth Shores, setting a new standard in affordable home rentals. Come see why today. Stop by or call 945-1500 or go to RehobothShores.com for more information.
It's time now for the Delaware 105.9 Fishing Report with John Butler, heard every morning at this time.
Good morning, anglers. Well, we're trying to get things back to normal after the latest nor'easter that seems to be sticking around. Unfortunately, the water is very soupy right now. I was at Massey's Landing this morning, and as you can expect, it's very murky from the storm stirring things up. I would expect those conditions to stick around the next several days. I actually saw a video on social media this weekend of a kid catching some small fish on a flooded street right here in Sussex County. That's pretty impressive. No, there were no sharks swimming around the flooded streets. That's a photoshopped picture making its rounds. Now, the freshwater action could be your best bet if you're looking to do some fishing. Spoke to some freshwater anglers during Saturday morning's Delmarva Angler, which airs right here on Delaware 105.9. They caught their good share of crappie and yellow perch. From personal experience, this should be good conditions for catfish as well, so don't be surprised to see some good-sized ones caught the next couple days. Now, the schoolie and resident striper action is going to be real good, as it always is this time of the year. The big ocean schools are not here yet, still a little too warm for them, but the smaller ones are balling up ready to join them. They were very active jumping around in the Lewis Canal over the weekend. All right, tight lines, be safe out there. I'm John Butler with the Delaware 105.9 Fishing Report.
All right. Let me be a little more clear. I think what the police did in Tom's case was what the police do. They did their job. What I'm saying is, I would like to see if there's a way to make it happen faster. I'm not saying that a guy with a history of DUIs should have been let go on the spot, but there needs to, right? But there needs to be a way to expedite this when you're talking about people being arrested. That's all. I just wish there was a way to make it quicker for the police's sake and the people's sake, right? But hey, reality is what it is, and it's not what I want. Alex, good morning. Alex in Milford.
Good morning, Dan. I mean, you would think that if you have the right to an attorney, before they can question you, I mean, I know you got to give the blood or urine, whatever, if you're driving, that's a different animal. But, you know, you think you could get an attorney that could work this for you and help you get out. But even so, perhaps, you know, like putting an ankle bracelet on him to track where his whereabouts are or something, if they're worried about the guy's a flight risk or something, right, as opposed to holding him in a jail cell, might be, you know, more economical for, you know, for sort of we the taxpayer.
Right. You know, if we all really talked about this stuff openly and heard a lot of different cases, there might be a better way to do it. You just never know.
Right. I mean, there's got to be some way to, you know, and I know it might be you know, if you've already maybe, say, impounded the guy's vehicle, that doesn't mean you can't borrow a friend's car and drive. But, you know, suspend his license pending the hearing.
Right.
So, you know, he can't drive. Put a little ankle bracelet on him and bring the guy home.
Well, hold on, Alex. Tom, this is the last comment on the topic, Tom. What is it?
Well, two things, actually. The actual bonding process and my orders and the stuff, I am under no circumstances allowed to get behind the wheel of an automobile until this thing is resolved. So that's out of the area. That's what happened.
Okay.
And I want to thank SCI for giving me and other inmates the time to bond. You know, it's amazing. In a 9x20 cell, there are 4 mats. There's 2 bunk beds and 2 extra mats. There was up to 3 people in my cells. It was in 3 different cells with 3 people. They up to 4 at times. They sleep on the floor. I slept on the floor because of my back. It's an amazing thing. They develop romances to get next to inmates. You know, we really become friends like that. You really
right. What were the other guys? What were the other guys in for?
Basically VOPs and drugs and stuff like that. They were youngsters. I didn't experience anybody too much of my age in the cells. They were youngsters, had dumb stories about one guy stole a car, and he stole a car, and he was hiding in the.
All right, so wait a minute. How many guys are there? They're like 3 or 4, and how big is the cell?
9 by 20. It's got a toilet and a sink, and the toilet only flushes twice an hour, no matter what. So
okay. All right. Any other comment from you, Alex?
I think we agree that the system could be made better, and there should be some way that we shouldn't have to have people locked up pending trial or something like that. There should be some steps we could take, given the technology and things that we have available to us.
All right.
And knowing your rights and asking for an attorney right off the get-go, so that person can make phone calls for you and do different things might also not be a bad idea.
Right. Thanks. When did you first get an attorney or talk to an attorney, Tom?
2 days after my incident, I spoke with an intake guy from the public defender's office. He was an investigator. He took my initial statements and.
But he did that over at the jail.
Yes, on a video conference.
Video conference. Okay. Listen, thank you very much, Tom. I appreciate it. Thanks for the call. Anyway, Tom bailed out and telling his tale. The outcome of which we don't know. We'll see. But Tom telling his tale, 6:53 at Delaware 105.9. Beautiful sunrise. Welcome. The Milford referendum passed. We'll talk a little bit about that. We talked about it yesterday. We'll do a follow-up. The people of Milford said yes to a tax increase to fund the schools. So we'll get into that a little bit, among other things, here at Delaware 105.9. We're on video. He's streaming live on YouTube, youtube.com. Search for The Dan Gaffney Show. It's the one that says live stream. We are on. If you want to see a camera set up here in the studio, we've got it. Traffic Watch, Robin Bryson.
Dan, traffic's been doing pretty well this morning. A little bit of busy activity in and out of Dover. No major jams or problems from what we've seen, at least so far. You're doing fairly well in Sussex County, along 13, through Bridgeville, through Seaford, down toward Laurel. A little bit of busy activity in each of the towns along the way, but not too bad a ride this morning. The 113 corridor is also in real good shape in and out of Georgetown. Route 1 along the coast doing well, around 5 points, and down past Route 24. I'm Robin Bryson with Traffic Watch on Delaware 105.9.
Here's your complete forecast now. Meteorologist Steve Williams is here.
Today, nice day. Times of clouds and sun with a high 72. It'll be clear tonight, low 56. Sunny for tomorrow with a high 70. And then tomorrow night, clear to partly cloudy, low 60. Some sunshine on Friday, but increasing cloudiness, a breezy day, high 77. It'll be cloudy Friday night, occasional evening rain, maybe even a thunderstorm, and a low on Friday night of 60. I'm Steve Williams in the Delaware 105.9 Weather Center.
In the midst of the big chain grocery stores in the Bethany Beach area, we still have a local, family-owned and operated store. What a great grocery, Hawkers. Hawkers, what they do differently from all the rest has really made them a destination. Visitors from Pennsylvania, Maryland, Virginia, they love Hawkers. And you've heard me talk about their meat department, their homemade hot dogs, pork or 100% beef, all natural and gluten-free, sausage, beef brisket, unbelievable, pulled pork, and store-smoked bacon. That is delicious. The store-smoked bacon sliced to your thickness. That's part of the normal, everyday service at Hawkers. Let me tell you something else that they do, and we've been promoting the freshest chicken in the area. The chicken you buy at Hawkers comes from the local farms to Mount Air and straight to Hawkers the same day. And then Hawkers does all the cutting and the wrapping in store. There's no other grocery store that can offer you this kind of freshness. And we talk about the chicken as an example of how they go above and beyond. So shop Hawkers, folks. They got Hawkers G&E hardware. They can help you with anything you need hardware related. Big store quality, small store friendly personal service. Hawkers G&E. And Hawker's Supermarket on Cedar Neck Road in Ocean View. There's a Hawker's G&E Hardware and Hawker's Supermarket on Cedar Neck Road. And then you got Hawker's Supercenter, Route 26 at 17 in Clarksville, Delaware.
In the pursuit of greatness, you're out there searching for ways to put more bushels in the bin at harvest. And the team at DuPont Pioneer is with you. When you're testing new technologies, trying new agronomic practices, and doing whatever else it takes, we're with you. And when you're thinking about how you'll continue to be a good steward of the land for the next generation to follow, we're there too. Pioneer, with you from the word go. As a soybean grower, what's it mean when DuPont Pioneer says we're with you from the word go?
We deliver seed when, where, and how you need it.
We have varieties that stand up to frog eye leaf spot and many other diseases.
Your local Pioneer team is on call to deliver the service, products, and information you need for your soybean acres.
You call, we're there.
Pioneer brand soybeans are built to produce and protect yield on your ground year after year. Pioneer, with you from the word go.
Vaccines aren't just for kids, and staying healthy at any age isn't kid stuff. The flu vaccine will help prevent the flu. So get vaccinated instead of getting the flu. This year's vaccine helps protect against 4 different strains of the virus. For information or to see if you or your family could qualify for free vaccinations, call 1-800-282-8672. That's 1-800-282-8672.
All right, time for a news update. Kelly Steele is with us in the newsroom at Delaware 105.9. A recap of the vote in Milford coming up, along with more local news and your phone calls.
Local news first on Delaware 105.9.
Delaware 105.9 news time is 6:59. Good Wednesday morning, everyone. I'm Kelly Steele from the Weather Center. The sun is rising. Looks like a gorgeous looking morning out there. Mix of sun and clouds today, so says meteorologist Steve Williams. A high today, 72. Residents in the Milford School District approve an operating referendum by a 56% to 44% margin. 1,621 residents voting for it, while 1,282 people voted against it. The average homeowner will now see their school taxes rise by about $140. A house fire in Selbyville under investigation. Firemen from Selbyville, Bishopville, and Roxana got the call just after 1 yesterday afternoon. Arriving units say they found heavy smoke and flames coming from the front room of the home on Lighthouse Road. The good news is no injuries were reported. From the first town in the first state, this is WXDE Lewis.
Delaware 105.9.
It's 7 o'clock.
CBS News, I'm Frank Sedapani. Governor Nikki Haley says God finally smiled on South Carolina, and she's making a promise.
Everything will be okay.
But Haley says the flood damage she saw on a tour of the state yesterday was disturbing. There was no rain, and emergency official Jim Beasley says progress is being made, but South Carolina isn't out of danger.
It's not over yet. We know that there still are some problems that are on the horizon for.
I'm Jim Crisula in Columbia, South Carolina. You don't have to look far to find flooding misery and heartache. There's 3 feet of water at Will Warren's Animal Clinic in the leafy Columbia suburb of Forest Acres.
Well, it's tough. You know, we put our heart and soul into it. After today, there's numerous people that work there and in other businesses within Forest Acres that don't have jobs.
Rain-swollen rivers, many at record levels, continue to threaten more and more areas with new flooding.
The Coast Guard still has not found any survivors from the cargo ship that sank near the Bahamas during Hurricane Joaquin. Mary Chevery's daughter was one of the 33 crew members.
It is pure agony and torture. It is hoping against hope.
CBS News correspondent Margaret Brennan tells us the President, Vice President, and Secretary of State will meet today to consider new moves in Syria. Options include enforcing a no-fly zone and directly arming Syrian Kurds and other moderate groups fighting the Assad government. CBS's Vicki Barker is live with the latest on what's going on inside Syria.
Russian jets have been hitting targets in the provinces of Hama and nearby Idlib, apparently providing air cover for Syrian ground forces in what would be the first such coordinated action escalation since Moscow began its air campaign last week. One more flashpoint in the already tense geopolitical situation. The commander of a U.S.-trained rebel force says Russian bombardments have destroyed the group's main weapons depot. Frank?
Volkswagen says the multi-billion-dollar recall of vehicles with software designed to cheat on emissions tests could begin in January. It's expected to go on for all of next year. The UAW is telling Fiat Chrysler it could go on strike at any time. Workers rejected a tentative contract agreement last week.
What we're witnessing is a membership at the UAW that is angry at the company. They're angry at their leadership. They wanted to see more in this agreement.
Auto analyst Kristen Dichak. United Airlines has apologized to a woman who couldn't find an appropriate place at Washington's Dulles Airport to pump breast milk. Liz Meager-Cooper was told to use a restroom or an area set aside for pet relief.
The red fire hydrant in there for dogs to relieve themselves. That's obviously not where I'm going to pump my breast milk for my baby.
A big business deal may be coming to a head. Budweiser's parent company, Anheuser-Busch InBev, has added some yeast to its bid for Miller Beer, raising the offer to more than $100 billion. A merger would create a beer behemoth with a third of the world's market. S&P futures are up 10 points. This is CBS News.
As an entrepreneur, you're always on the go. So turn your mobile phone into a business phone system with Grasshopper, the entrepreneur's phone system. Get a new business number or keep your current one. Sound professional with a main greeting and multiple extensions that forward callers to your mobile phone. You can even get voicemails transcribed. Join over 150,000 small businesses who stay connected with Grasshopper. See how it works at grasshopper.com. The entrepreneur's phone system.
Today's Porkcast is looking mighty delicious. We'll have some smoky hot pork chops starting at around 5 p.m. with a cool cucumber tomato salad breezing in from the north at about 6. It'll be a beautiful evening in the tri-state area, perfect for grilling. So be sure to pick up some New York pork chops on your way home. For your up-to-the-minute recipe Porkcast, visit porkbeinspired.com/porkcast. Pork, be inspired. This message funded by America's pork producers and the Pork Checkoff.
Delaware 105.9 news time is 7:04.
Apple Electric says get an estimate now for generator. You know, when storm hits and the power goes out, you can be protected. Generac generators put in by Apple, and they're doing estimates now, and it didn't cost you anything. 645-5105, Apple Electric.
Thanks, Dan. Delaware Supreme Court all set to hear an appeal by a death row inmate convicted in a Wilmington barbershop shooting that left 2 people dead, including a young boy. Today's hearing involves an appeal by Chauncey Starling, who was convicted of the 2001 killings of 28-year-old Darnell Evans and 5-year-old Damon Gist Jr. According to some court records, Starling and 2 other men were searching for Evans. After spotting him, Starling entered the barbershop and shot Evans several times. During the gunfire, a bullet struck the boy in the head. Starling has argued, among other things, that his attorney was ineffective and that prosecutors withheld evidence helpful to his defense. A Superior Court judge found no merit to his arguments last year and refused to overturn his convictions or his death sentences. NASA today launching a suborbital Black Brant 9 sounding rocket from the Wallops Flight Facility in Accomack County, Virginia. That rocket had initially been set to launch on Tuesday night, but it was postponed until today due to the recent weather system along the East Coast that prevented vehicle preparations. The rocket is scheduled to blast off tonight from Wallops between 7 and 9 o'clock. Federal health officials say the outbreak of Salmonella puna infections from imported cucumbers has reached Maryland. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention saying in a news release Tuesday that 1 person in Maryland has become infected. That brings the total number of affected states to 35.
What's it called?
Salmonella puna. 4 deaths have been reported from Salmonella puna. More than 700 have already been infected. The salmonella has been found in cucumbers grown in Mexico and distributed by a San Diego company. DuPont's future in Delaware appears uncertain. For the first time, the company will not have a homegrown CEO in Ellen Coleman's interim successor, Ed Breen. The company also appears to be conducting a worldwide search for a more permanent successor. Dr. Charles Elson, the director of the Weinberg Center for Corporate Governance, says there is one silver lining.
Companies come and go. Nothing is forever. And I think that for the state itself, we really needed to have broadened
our economic base. And maybe this is the chance to really start and go out and look for some industries, look for companies, or look for corporate headquarters that should locate here.
He points to Delaware's tax advantages as a good reason for companies to move here. Delaware 105.9 News Time, 7:07.
Tropical storms, hurricanes, and severe winter weather could cause major power outages throughout Delmarva. Don't wait till the lights go out. Call Apple Electric to schedule your yearly generator maintenance or a free estimate on a standby generator for your home or business. Apple Electric provides fast, reliable service and the quality you would expect from true professionals. Severe weather has been forecast for this winter, so prepare now. Call Apple Electric at 645-5105. Apple Electric, an authorized Generac generator dealer. Call 645-5105.
In the American League wildcard game last night, Colby Rasmus and Carlos Gomez hit solo homers off of Masahiro Tanaka. Dallas Keuchel tossed 6 shutout innings, striking out 7 as Houston beat the Yankees 3-0. The Astros now face Kansas City in the division series starting tomorrow night. On the high school scoreboard in field hockey, Cape beat Lake Forest 2-1, but it was the first goal of the season allowed by the Vikings, and Spartan goalie Allison Bishop made 34 saves just to keep it close. Milford beat Smyrna 2-1, Tech topped Woodbridge 2-1, Delmar cruises past Central 7-0, CR beat Indian River 4-0, and Dover slammed Seaford 8-0. In boys soccer, Cape beat Red Lion 4-0, Seaford topped Public Safety 11-1, Delmar over St. Thomas More 2-1, Polytech beat DMA 2-1, and Smyrna over Wilmington Christian 3-1. And in NBA preseason action, Otto Porter led the Wizards with 22 points as they cruised past the Sixers 129-95. Jahlil Okafor had 12 points in his Sixers debut. That's Schofield on Sports on Delaware 105.9.
From the Delaware 105.9 Weather Center, mix of sun and clouds today. High 72, going to be clear tonight. An overnight low of 56. It is 56 degrees right now in Kent County and Dover. 60 degrees on the beach in Lewis. 55 in downtown Milford. I'm Kelly Steele in the Delaware 105.9 newsroom. More of the Dan Gaffney Show starts now on Delaware 105.9.
A lot of referendum talk yesterday on the show, and as a follow-up, I tell you, the voters in the Milford School District passed an operating referendum yesterday, and it was 1,621 for and 1,282 against. Do you have any reaction? I mean, a lot of calls yesterday on this. I took calls, pro and con, just played it pretty straight yesterday, let people call and say their thing. 839-1059. Voters said yes this time. And Milford Superintendent Dr. Phyllis Cole, speaking right after the results came in to our Delaware 105.9 microphone last night.
This will allow us to be competitive with teacher salaries, again, something that we've been lacking for several years. It will allow us to start putting back programs that we've had to cut because of deficit spending, so it's huge for this district.
All right, it was going to allow us to be competitive with teacher salaries again.
This will allow us to be competitive with teacher salaries, again, something that we've been lacking for several years.
Right, and also to restore programs that had been cut. And those are some of her comments given to us, initial comments, and that's the way it goes. If you want to break it down with percentage, 56% for, 44% against. It's about a 300 and change, and do the quick math here. Maybe I need to go back to school myself. 330 something or other, 9, carry the 1, 339. I think 330. Am I right there? 339 vote margin.
My math is worse than yours.
I'm trying to do something
sorry.
in my head while talking and running controls and thinking of 4 other things on down the line. So anyway, that's the margin, and congratulations to those who were in favor of that. And I guess the school got what they wanted. So that's what I mean. Congratulations to them. 56% for, 44% against. All right. So the teacher. So what does that mean? They're going to be able to give raises? Is that what she means? Look, it means they're going to have money to operate. Whatever they do with it, they do with it. All right, good morning. Welcome to the program. Speaking of school, this is fascinating to me. I have this letter that says, believe it or not, this was in Dear Abby. And, you know, for 30 years, every once in a while, I still dip into the Dear Abby for an interesting radio topic. Because before the internet, when you're show prepping a talk radio show, you got a stack of newspapers or books or letters from listeners or whatever it is you're using to prep topics for the show, and there's really nothing going on. You used to always go back, way back in the double-digit pages of the newspaper and check the Dear Abby column because there might be some issue there. And so over the years, every once in a while, you get it, and believe it or not, even in this high-tech age, you can still dip deep into the paper and find a Dear Abby.
Dear Abby still alive?
Yeah, if you search hard enough. No, this is probably Dear Abby being answered by other people. Oh. Abigail Van Buren, I think, has passed away, but the brand name lives on.
Okay.
This is a grandparent in Texas, and I want to know if you've ever experienced anything like this. There are no words to express how disappointed I am at the education kids receive now and still graduate with honors, in quotes. I was at a grocery store a short time ago. 2 young ladies just completed their freshman year at our local college. One of them had been on the honor roll all through high school. I bought... This is what the grandmom says. I bought 4 packages of gravy mix that were on sale. 4 packages for $1. I bought 4 packages of gravy mix that were on sale. 4 packages for $1. As the cashier rang it up, I noticed she entered them at 44 cents apiece. When I brought it to her attention, she asked the other cashier if that was right. And she asked, 44 cents, wouldn't that be 4 for $1? The other girl picked up a calculator to find the answer. And the grandmom says, can you tell me, what did this honor student learn in school? Both girls are in college. My heart is broken for our kids. Maybe we need to go back to teaching like when I was a kid. Just call me grandparent in Texas. Is that fair for this grandparent to assume that kids are not being taught simple, common math just because of this? I mean, how common is this experience? Every once in a while, I hear somebody on the phone say, people can't count change. Well, how can you work a cash register if you can't count change? I hear that once in a while. So I want to know what your experience is. You know what Dear Abby said? Dear grandparent, frankly, your letter leaves me at a loss for words. I can only say the problems with our educational system will not be resolved in an advice column. Readers. So, in other words, I have no answer for you, but it is interesting, is basically what Dear Abby says. That's what I'm saying. I have no answer, but I do have the ability to ask you if you think it's fair for this grandmother to critique these girls because they couldn't figure out in their head how much the gravy mix is. 4 packages for $1. Okay. Terry in Milton, Delaware. You are on the air at Delaware 105.9. Good morning, Terry.
Good morning, Dan. Yeah, no, unfortunately, that is an example of the way these kids are being instructed these days.
For real?
Yes. Unfortunately, they've been allowed to use these calculators, and they lean on them way too much. I've brought up the issue with my own kids, not that they were guilty of examples like this, but just told them, I'm like, and I think the problem is at some point, someone was real anti-memorization and anti-drilling as far as some of this stuff because they said you really weren't learning it if you were just memorizing it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, quick addition, quick multiplication, there's no other substitution in my mind. You memorize it.
Right.
Or you know it. Come on. Yeah. 4 for $1. Okay, that's a quarter apiece. It's 4 quarters is $1. Everybody should know that. But, because they lean on their calculators for any kind of mathematical problem, they just don't think about it in common sense, real-world scenarios that, it's 4 quarters.
Terry, I'm going to talk to Paris, who is a teacher calling us from Dagsboro. Good morning, Paris.
Hey, good morning, Dan. The math is something that gets me about school as much as anything else. Our oldest kid went from private school to public school this year because he wanted to go to middle school with his friends. And I'm telling you, it frustrates me so much when he comes home with his homework. And the sad thing is, every single person you talk to would say this exact thing, even including math teachers in the school. Everybody knows how ridiculous new math is, and also the reliance upon a calculator. And yet it still happens in our school, and it's no wonder that kids have no clue when it comes to math. Unless these kids are really sharp, there's no, middle ground with math. You're either a genius or you don't know what you're doing because it's the way it's being taught from kindergarten through. And I don't know what the solution is.
Is this the result? Is this the result we get here, what this grandmother experienced? Do you think it's a result of the way it's being taught?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I don't think kids are less smart today than they used to be. It's just that we're not. Dan, you should see these problems that the kids come home with, and parents look at it and they say, I don't know what they're asking. The kids don't know what it's asking. The book has no examples. And it's like, it just seems like it's meaningless crap. And I got so frustrated the other night. I said, I don't care if you do the homework or not. I don't care what grade you get in that stupid class because it makes no sense. This is how we're going to do it. And engineers that I know that send their kids to public school, they teach them a different way. They say, well, go ahead and do it this way if that's what your teacher wants. But this is the way you should be doing it, son.
Right.
And that's what teachers have to do. Well, that's what parents have to do.
Right, you got to teach a different way. Okay, do it just because that's what they're telling you, but here's the real way to do it.
I want to hear the person call in and say that the way we teach math in schools today is better or is even good. Because I don't know the person. I've never met him.
Well, and you're and you work with these people. So.
Well, I don't know a teacher that likes the direction that public school's going, period, in so many ways. But math may be the most egregious offense that we've done to our kids with respect to education.
Well, fascinating to hear refreshing honesty from our callers, which I always like, as you know. Over the years, we like you to be bold and tell us your honest opinion without fear. Thank you. Lisa in Milford is on Delaware 105.9. 4 packs of gravy for $1. Hello, Lisa.
Hi. I guess I'm looking at it in a broader context that I don't necessarily know if it's that education is not preparing them. I think.
Well, we had a teacher. We just had a public school teacher say it is.
And I'm a teacher too, so I'll put that out there. I don't know about the math. I don't teach math. I don't have a child that's learning math yet, so I don't know a whole lot about it. I've heard both arguments. I've heard his exact argument. I've heard the argument that you're not going to see kids that know what they're doing until you get the kids that are in kindergarten now up through the higher grades, because unfortunately you took a lot of kids right in the middle of their schooling in 5th grade and then switched on them exactly how they were supposed to be doing things. So, of course, they were not exposed to the previous setup of that curriculum.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think there's valid arguments on both sides. Maybe we will see in 5 or 6 years the kids got it a little bit better than, unfortunately, the kids that were taught one way and then, bam, flipped over to the other way. I think time will tell with that. I think, people are going to be right on both sides of that fence. But I guess I see it as there are things that are in place now as far as teachers' hands being tied. We are moving kids along that are absolutely not ready. So we say we have standards, and we say that at the end of blank grade, a child should be able to achieve that standard, but there are laws in place saying go ahead and push them through even if they're not there.
Yes.
And you compound that over 12 years, and you have a child that graduates that doesn't know that 4 quarters equals $1.
Yeah.
And I think, kind of just on the other side, I think it's a little generational, because I think you have people that are out of, and then, you know what, you have adults that can't use email, and you have, 20-year-old kids looking at them like, what do you mean you can't use email? How in the world do you not know how to use this, that, or the other? Like, what's wrong with you? So I think it's a little, sometimes just generational. The kids could probably school you on a computer real quick, but they didn't know that specific fact that you wanted them to know. So I think people have to look at it in a broader context. I think there's absolutely things wrong. I think there are things right.
Yeah.
Because I can't tell myself that every year we graduate millions of kids that have zero clue of what they're doing. I don't believe that that's 100% true.
Right. Hey, listen, Lisa, I'm glad you called us 2 teachers in a row. You know what? Somebody is on the phone. She's going to hang up. Oh, darn. I was going to see if I could bring in hashtag.
Hi.
Hashtag, you had something to say. I thought the teacher might want to answer, but she had to roll. What's up, hashtag of Dagsboro?
I just wanted to know, not only math. Now, the math is so difficult, I can't do it. I'm not complaining that the children can do it or can't do it. I can't do it. So I can't help them. But I wanted to know, why aren't there teaching in the schools now signature? My son, a signature, I had to teach him to do a signature. They're not teaching cursive writing anymore.
Right. Not even for the purposes of signing your name, right?
Right. Not even for the purposes of your name to sign your paycheck, or, I know we have direct deposit and all of that stuff now, but I still think a signature is necessary.
Right. So no cursive. How does he write his name? Or sign? How would he sign his name?
Everything is print. I taught him when he got his first job this year how to sign the back of his paycheck, and I actually had to teach him while he was sitting in the bank because he was opening up his first bank account.
Probably not even exposed to cursive letters.
No, he had no clue.
Right. Interesting. Thank you, hashtag. Fascinating. It's one that maybe somebody else can comment on. Thank you very much. Quick check of your traffic here this morning on the Dan Gaffney program. Robin.
Dan, traffic's been moving pretty well around the region this morning. A little bit of busy activity in and out of Seaford along 13, around Herring Run Road, down around the Concord Road intersection, but no major jams there. Through Laurel, you've been doing all right. Route 54 from Delmar over through Selbyville also has been in fairly good shape in both directions. 113 through Georgetown, a little bit of congestion right around the Route 9 intersection, but really not a bad ride right through there this morning. Up in Kent County, you're doing fairly well on Route 1 through the Dover toll plazas, also on 13 as you head northbound up into Dover. I'm Robin Bryson with Traffic Watch on Delaware 105.9.
Here's your weather. A mix of sun and clouds throughout southern Delaware. Today's high 72. Clear overnight low tonight, low 56. Tomorrow, sunny and 70. Friday, some clouds in the afternoon, high 77. It's beautiful this morning. Some overcast conditions, but areas of clearing. Let's go to Jerry in Millsboro. Good morning, Jerry.
Good morning, Dan.
Hi.
I've got 3 boys. They're in kindergarten, and there are 2 of them in kindergarten, 1 in 2nd grade. And I tell you, I definitely believe that the way they're being taught math these days is ridiculous. I'm very good at math. I don't have a college education, but I'm in several companies, and I rely on math each and every day. And I personally feel that math is the most important subject in school.
Yes.
That's just my opinion, because I do rely on it so much.
Right.
So when my boys come home and I'm helping them with homework, typically it's my wife helping with homework until I get home. But when I do help them with homework, I'm in charge of the math. And I am teaching them my math ways and not the school math ways, which kind of would butt heads, especially at their age. We're butting heads because all I keep hearing is, well, Mrs. Jones is telling me I have to do it this way. And I tell them point blank, there's 2 ways to skin a cat. It don't matter how you skin it. As long as you come up with the right answer, it doesn't matter. And my way is the easier way of doing it.
That's right.
Because the problems that they come home with, I look at it, even a kindergarten or a second grade problem, I'm looking at it like, what in the heck are they trying to come up with? Why are they going, out in left field to try to come home when all they have to do is run from third base to home? It doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever.
I've heard that from parents over and over again. And, well, we even heard from a teacher saying, look, even the math teachers probably don't like it, but they're doing what they're told, I guess. The math teachers are doing the curriculum they're told to teach.
Well, and as long as, and I've told my boys and my wife agrees that as long as they come up with the right answer and they're doing it the way that I feel that they should be doing it, if they get to school or take a test or whatever, we're going to have problems if they get corrected properly.
Well, I can imagine.
When that time comes.
Yeah, I can imagine that. I think that would be a problem as well. I get it. Thank you for the call. Here's Tom in Long Neck. Hello, Tom.
How's it going, Dan? How are you this morning?
It's good. Is the grandmother's critique legit or what?
I'm going to offer an alternate scenario. Just because I don't think there's any way that any college student is going to know that there aren't 4 quarters in a dollar. I'm guessing the gravy's normally 44 cents on sale for 25 cents. I don't know any place where the cashier actually rings in the amount. So it goes across the scan bar. Scan bar says 44 cents. She looks at the girl next to her and says, is this the right price? Not making a comment on the 4 for a dollar, and grandmother misinterprets the whole thing.
Right, and so the other girl gets the calculator out to double check. What's she?
I just don't see any way where any college freshman's not going to know 4 for a dollar.
There you go. Thank you so much. So grandma's confused at the checkout. That wouldn't be the first time that ever happened, right? And she probably waited till they gave her the complete total before she whipped out her checkbook to begin writing the check. Well, while you're waiting behind. Okay, here is Cindy in Camden. Hello, Cindy. Good morning.
Hi. I was with my daughter who was a high school student last spring. We were in a store in the mall, a clothing store, and she went to purchase a blouse. And she gave the girl, I think the blouse was like $11.50 something, $11.58, and she gave the girl $12. And no lie, the computers were down, and the girl looked at her and went, "Just a minute, I need to find a calculator." And my daughter stood right in front of me and went, boom, and she told her exactly how much she needs to give her back. And I looked at my daughter and went, "And you look like the same age as this person, and you knew it." She goes, "It's common math." And I'm like, "Yes, you're right." And I was very proud of her. I was kind of discouraged with the other daughter. You're not the daughter of the clerk, but I understood it with the computers down.
How old was the clerk? College age?
I would say at least either senior in high school, or it had to be, to work in the mall, she had to be 18, so she was 18 or older.
Oh, I see. Mm-hmm.
And it was just very surprising. And as far as teaching cursive in the elementary schools, it is not in the Common Core standard. That's why it's not taught.
That's right. Thank you for the call. Kelly Steele, Delaware 105.9 News, 7:30.
Thank you, Dan. Delaware Supreme Court is set to hear an appeal by a death row inmate convicted in a Wilmington barbershop shooting that left 2 people dead, including a young child. Today's hearing involves an appeal by Chauncey Starling, who was convicted of the 2001 killings of 28-year-old Darnell Evans and 5-year-old Damon Gist Jr. The DuPont Nature Center at Mispillion Harbor Reserve, just east of Milford, is now closed until April of 2016. Denrex says the center shuts down during the less busy winter months in order to save some costs and also allocate funds to a variety of aquatic education programs that are most heavily used only during the spring and summer months. Your forecast today, mix of sun and clouds, a high 72, clear tonight, an overnight low of 56. CBS News covers the nation and the world next. Delaware 105.9 News Time is 7:31. Good morning.
CBS News Update. South Carolina flooding could mean that more dams may fail. Correspondent David Begnaud is in Columbia.
The South Carolina Emergency Management Division has just tweeted, and I read here, Richland officials urge residents around Beaver Dam and Pebble Creek roads to immediately seek shelter and move to higher ground. This is the kind of alert that has people on edge.
And Begnaud told CBS This Morning.
The National Guard this morning is fortifying a ruptured canal wall that is threatening the water supply to 375,000 people here in the city of Columbia. This morning, 250 roads and bridges across the state are closed.
In the state capital, residents have to take extra precautions at home. Here's State Emergency Management's Jim Beasley.
There are people who are still having to boil their water. There are still standing water, which obviously can carry contaminants, including viruses and bacteria.
Some donated bottled water is being made available. CBS News Update, I'm Dave Barrett.
Halpern Eye Care is focused on exceptional patient care with locations throughout Delaware, including the newest in Georgetown. Halpern Eye Care specializes in comprehensive eye exams, medical and pediatric eye care, contact lenses, and they're the leader in designer eyewear with brands like Crocs, Nike, Guess, Converse, and many more. Halpern Eye Care performs the highest quality, most technologically advanced eye exams and ensures that personal attention is given to each patient. Get your children ready for back to school at Halpern Eye Care. Get a complete pair of glasses for only $69, 2 for $89, or free lenses when you buy any designer brand package. Don't neglect the health of your child's eyes as they start school this year. Schedule your children's back-to-school eye exam today by calling 1-800-734-2010 or go online, halperneye.com. See office for complete details. May not be combined with any other discounts or insurance and must be 21 years of age or younger. Expires 10/31/15.
Did all that back-to-school shopping jack up your credit card balance? Get smart and transfer that balance to a low-rate Sussex County Federal Credit Union Visa card with no balance transfer fees, no annual fees, and the chance to win a mini iPad. Your Sussex County FCU Visa not only comes with a great rate, but it also contains smart card chip technology for an added level of security against identity theft and fraud. And with free Visa checkout service, you can make online purchases faster than ever before. So for lower monthly payments, enhanced fraud protection, faster online checkouts, and the chance to win a mini iPad, get your Sussex County FCU Visa card now. Simply come by any branch throughout Sussex County. Call 302-629-0100 or apply online 24/7 at SussexCFCU.com. That's SussexCFCU.com. Sussex County FCU is an equal opportunity lender. Deposits are federally insured by NCUA. Terms and conditions apply and may vary based on credit. Membership eligibility required. Call 302-629-0100 for details or visit SussexCFCU.com.
It's amazing how fast you can change from hectic to tranquil. A state of calmness comes over you. No worries. Everything's taken care of. There's absolutely nothing to do but pack for the most enjoyable vacation ever. Hi, Cindy McCabe, owner of Bethany Travel. I'm excited to invite you to our second annual travel show, Tuesday, October 27th at Baywood Greens in Long Neck, or Wednesday, October 28th at Ocean Pines Yacht Club from 4 till 8. We pride ourselves on taking care of every detail to ensure you a vacation you won't forget. Join us on Tuesday, October 27th at Baywood Greens, or Wednesday, October 28th at Ocean Pines Yacht Club from 4 till 8. Door prizes every hour and refreshments. Talk with vendors from Apple Vacations, Walt Disney, Carnival, Highland America, Royal Caribbean, Taup, Sandals and Beaches, and more. Whether it's an all-inclusive resort or a river cruise you're looking for, Bethany Travel offers the same price as the internet, but with no booking fees. RSVP today and join us for our travel shows. Call 800-806-8747 or visit bethanytravel.net.
Okay, so grandmother is miffed because the college-age girls at the checkout, 2 of them, had to get the calculator and figure it out. She thinks they're confused. They don't know how much the gravy packages were when they were on sale, 4 for $1. 4 for $1. She thinks the clerk thinks they're 44 cents each. That's right, isn't it? 4 for $1, 44 cents? The other girl says, let me check. Gets a calculator out. She writes, my heart is broken for our kids. Can you tell me what these honor students learned in school? Both girls are now in college. Maybe we need to go back to teaching like when I was a kid, said grandparent in Texas. Does this woman have a point? Or is it just overreaction? She's confused. Can't be this bad. Does she have a point? I often hear of people who say, they run into stories about, we just heard one. People working cash registers that can't count change. Can't give change. $11.58. Well, here's $12. The cash register was broken, didn't know how to give the change. Had to get a calculator. All right, so what of it? 839-1059. What do you notice? Let's talk about it. Let's also go to Brandon. Brandon is here from Weller's Utility Trailers in Bridgeville, Delaware. Good morning, Brandon. What's happening at Weller's?
Good morning, Dan. Well, we're going to make it very simple for you. We've got a huge generator liquidation sale going right now, and I know we pushed it real hard during the storms last week, but there's no gimmicks here. We have got generators beyond generators, and we've got them at the lowest prices of the year. Jim is wanting to liquidate these things and get them out of here. They do come, they're brand new in the box. They come with a full manufacturer's warranty. There's no sales tax in the state of Delaware. We're welcoming dealers if they want to come in and buy all we got. Take advantage of these prices right now. I even believe some are below cost. We've got name brand generators, Briggs & Stratton, Powerhouse, Champions, as low as 1,500 watts all the way up to a 9,375 watt electric start. Great deals all the way around. I also want to put out there we are getting a load of kayaks in today. A lot of people think we're crazy selling kayaks in the cold weather, but now's the time to buy because they're going to stop making them for the season. So you want to come in and get your kayaks while they're at a great deal and be ready for next season. Come in and check them out at Weller's. We're right here on Highway 13 in Bridgeville. Phone number is 337-82228, and the website is wellers.com.
Thank you very much, Brandon. Good to talk to you. 55 degrees, mostly sunny in Lewis, some clouds at the beach, 58. Z is in Rehoboth on Delaware 105.9.
Good morning, Dan.
Hi, Z.
Dan, that lady's example, I think it was a grandmother, that specific example might not be right, but in general she is right. They're not teaching math properly, and the students that are coming out of schools today, for the most part, don't know math, which is really pathetic. And what I don't understand is, if you go back 50, 60 years, 2 generations, say, those people all know how to do math. And when there's an old saying, if it isn't broke, don't fix it, or if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah.
And there was nothing broken with the system of teaching math. Why did they have to fiddle with it? They keep fiddling with it and using our children as guinea pigs, and the harm that they do can never be corrected.
There is an overriding philosophy where a lot of people think that as we go forth in time, human beings must advance, and they feel that there's got to always be a better way. They have this desire for a utopia in a lot of ways, certain type of a utopian view of the future, and they always think that modern methods are better than the past because their own view of themselves, they put themselves higher than their ancestors. And I wonder if that's at play, because you're right. I mean, the method works. You learn math. Math doesn't change. It's fixed. Why change it?
Yeah, I think that principle you're talking about applies more to the result, not the method. If the result isn't working, let's do something to change the method to make it work.
Right.
But the results were working.
That's right.
So you don't change something that's working. If you have a car that's running right, you don't pull a spark plug wire off and see if it works better. That's not a good example. But if you want a good example, go into any of these stores and buy something for $4.60 and wait and give them a $5 bill, and then wait until they've already punched the numbers in, and then say, oh, wait a minute, let me give you the 60 cents and see what happens.
All right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
They won't be able to figure it out because they can't do it in the machine. They've already punched the numbers in the machine, and the machine says, you get 40 cents change, and if you give them the 60 cents that you want $1 back, they won't be able to figure that out.
Right. Listen. School teacher on Twitter. Thank you very much. The teacher on Twitter says, I've taught elementary for 12 years. All of my 3rd to 5th graders know 4 quarters equal $1. Right. I would imagine they would. She also said cursive would be a great thing to be taught at home. All right. And here's JD. Good morning, JD.
Hey, Dan.
I don't know. I kind of look at this as a little suspect, if you ask me. I think Tom's comment about maybe the story was confused, and maybe there was just a miscommunication and misinterpretation in that Texas story. But I think the sentiment is probably right on. At least the observation that maybe students that are graduating high school today can't perform at basic arithmetic levels of, I don't know, let's pick a number 20 years ago. Now, I don't know if that's completely true. Lisa, when she had called in and talked about Common Core being adopted and you have to give it time, and, it's an entire curriculum. It's not a year-by-year thing. And in our homeschool that my wife does, we actually use a math curriculum that's kind of a hybrid between Common Core and I guess old-fashioned math. Let's call it that. And I'll say what they really attempt to do is to teach math from an abstract perspective so that you kind of understand the relationship of the numbers first, and then you understand the mechanics of it.
Right. That's why they don't. That's why it's not totally focused on having the answer correct. They want to show the work and that you understand why the answer correct. This is what a teacher is telling me. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm a practicing engineer, and I see a tremendous value in learning math that way. Now, I am not an advocate of Common Core, and the reason why I think that this thing has a high likelihood of backfiring is learning math in that way is great if you're a math guru, a genius, or you're going to go to higher levels of math. But if you're trying to teach math to the masses, I think that's where this is going to have a little bit of a problem, because not every student is going to be a math whiz. There's going to be a lot of students that struggle with math through school, and I think that they're going to lose the basic arithmetic function. Even though they may push the higher performers even higher, I think they're going to lose the middle of the road student in this. And that's just my hunch. I have no data to back it up. I'm not a high school teacher or a middle school teacher, but I do see the theory behind the math education, and think that it probably has some promise if every student was going to be a high caliber student. But just the average student, or the student that may be good in English or history, that kind of what we would say, I'm just not great at math. I think they might be left behind and fall a little bit behind with that.
Right. JD, thank you so much. JD, good to hear your call at 839-1059. So what do you think of the way math is being taught these days? Because the grandma, ultimately, the ultimate question, she says, maybe we need to go back to teaching like when I was a kid, grandparent in Texas. What do you think? 839-1059. You got any math stories? This all started with a clerk who, well, I don't want to say couldn't count change, but she claims couldn't figure out how much the gravy packages were that were $4 for $1. Right? She thought maybe they were 44 cents each, according to the grandmother. But regardless of who was confused in that story, do you find that people have difficulty with common everyday math? What do you think about the way math is being taught? These are great calls. I enjoy hearing them from the teachers, from the parents. 839-1059, 839-1059.
Don't let the ghost of credit past keep you from the car you deserve. Have a job clearing $350 per week? We want to approve your credit today. At Berlin Chevy, take $12,000 off with any trade on select new 2015 Chevy Silverados in stock. Colorado, Tahoe, Suburban, Impalas, Malibus, and Cruises, even the 2015 Silverado 2500 HD. Take $12,000 off. Have a job clearing $350 per week? Berlin Chevy wants to approve you for the credit you deserve. 2015 Chevy Cruze, just $167 per month lease. Plus, we'll take any trade, even if you still owe thousands on it.
And remember, Jim wants to see you in the coolest small town in America, Berlin, Maryland.
Berlin Chevy. Find new roads on Old Ocean City Boulevard, Berlin, Maryland.
Qualified buyers. Credit may affect terms. Balance of trade carried over to new loan. Discount based on MSRP of $58,650 with $8,798 factory rebates to dealer and $3,202 dealer discount. Stock number 3725.
At Delmarva Roofing and Coating, we specialize in commercial roofing. We work directly with your architect to guarantee the most high-quality, long-lasting, and energy-efficient roof system for your business. From repairs and replacements to acres of new construction, Delmarva Roofing has the manpower and experience to get the job done. Our industry-leading Conklin white roof system reflects the sun's heat to save you money. For over 20 years, Delmarva Roofing has been the trusted and trained expert. Trust your business to Delmarva Roofing and Coating.
Dan, traffic's been running pretty well around the area this morning. Normal congestion in Seaford along 13, around Concord Road, up around the Stein Highway and through the Herring Run Road intersection. Just minor delays due to the traffic signals through there. You've been running pretty well through Harrington this morning. In and out of Dover, a little bit of busy activity certainly along 13 in both directions, but not too bad a ride through there. Route 1 runs pretty well right through the Dover Toll Plaza. Back in Sussex County, the 113 corridor doing pretty well from Milford through Georgetown through Millsboro and Dagsboro right down toward Selbyville. I'm Robin Bryson with Traffic Watch on Delaware 105.9.
Now listen.
We figure talk radio means you get to talk too.
Yeah, me too.
With people you know from right here.
I want to hear your thoughts.
Delaware 105.9.
Here we go with the forecast. Meteorologist Steve Williams. This is the very accurate weather information for all of Sussex and Kent counties.
Today, nice day. Times of clouds and sun with a high 72. It'll be clear tonight, low 56. Sunny for tomorrow with a high 70. And then tomorrow night, clear to partly cloudy, low 60. Some sunshine on Friday, but increasing cloudiness, a breezy day, high 77. It'll be cloudy Friday night, occasional evening rain, maybe even a thunderstorm, and a low on Friday night of 60. I'm Steve Williams in the Delaware 105.9 Weather Center.
Okay, 55 in Lewis, 58 in Rehoboth, 58 Milford. Good morning. It's Delaware 105.9. Did our caller from Fenwick leave us? Phil, I understand our caller from Fenwick Island has split. So maybe you had a bad sell. You dropped the call. We'd love hearing from you. We'll be back with your phone calls talking about math, the way it's being taught. We're also talking about selling your home with Dustin Oldfather, the realtor I've been recommending. I would call him if I were you and you wanted to sell your house. Dustin Oldfather of the Oldfather Group. The Oldfather Group of Ocean Atlantic Sotheby's International Realty, 302-296-6644. One of the biggest questions I get, what's the number of that realtor? Oldfather. Somebody just asked me again last week. They are hearing that they have a home selling system on a whole different level than the average agent. They're spending thousands on marketing each month to get homes sold fast and for the most money possible. Beautiful website, extraordinarydelawarerealestate.com. extraordinarydelawarerealestate.com. Just the way they set up the photos of your home and everything, it's just really well done what they do, and they'll tell you all about that. And they also will sit down with you, establish a price and a deadline for your home to sell, and if that deadline passes and your home isn't sold, they'll buy your home. A lot of people enjoying that. And I know when you sell your house, you might have some worries like, I don't want to give it away, and I want to buy that other house, but I don't want to leave money on the table here and have two mortgages stuck with that or whatever. All those concerns will be dealt with and handled professionally with Dustin and Maria Oldfather. So all you have to do is call 302-296-6644. 302-296-6644. See what Jim in Lewis has to say. Good morning, Jim. We're talking about the way math is taught today. Good morning.
Good morning. I questioned it my grandson is he's in the 4th grade, and he was doing his math problems one day, and I was watching him, and he had a simple subtraction problem. 3 numbers take away 3 numbers. And he used like 7 or 8 steps to get to the conclusion. And I did it in 1 step. I just subtracted like I was taught to do when I was in school. Now, so I questioned this with a teacher one time. I was on a trip. There was a teacher on the trip. And I said, I got a question for you. This new math. I said, can you explain to me why they're going into this intensive steps rather than just use the simple math that we learned? She said, well, they're trying to kids to develop usage of every part of the concept of math when it comes to doing simple math. I said, you just gave me a whole line of crap that I don't understand either. I said, give me a reason why they're doing it. And she told me that it gave a more concept for the kid to understand what they're doing and why they're doing it. I said, you're still not telling me why they're doing it. Tell me why they're teaching the math. She basically said, well, that's what we're told to do. So that answered that question. Of course, that went along with me with my idea of why.
Well, if somebody says to you, look, if somebody says, a teacher on Twitter says to me, getting correct answers isn't always what it's about. I want my students to understand why I want them to think. Isn't that an answer that you accept?
I don't want the school system to be part of it. I want them to come up with a solution, not a test on every time they have to pick up a pencil to do a question. And I'm going to digress a little bit, Dan, because we've talked about this before. It's the same way I asked them, why don't they teach cursive writing in school anymore?
Right.
Well, because they don't need to. Why? Because finally they said, we don't have the time and the money to do it. I said, well, that started in the 1st grade. I remember the big block letters up on the wall, and things. I'm old school. I won't lie to you. I'm old school. But how can a kid learn how to read the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution? It's all written in cursive, Well, it's printed out, too. The computer makes it easy for them to understand all this stuff. I said, that's not the answer. I worked with a kid who didn't understand what I wrote. And I have pretty legible handwriting, and I wrote out a series of things that I wanted him to do the next day when I wasn't there. And he really didn't understand how to read it. And this was an 18-year-old kid.
Well, I guess they look at it like, look, Bible manuscripts, fragments might be written in Greek or something, but that doesn't mean everybody's going to learn Greek. Maybe they see it as a dying thing, that if there's a specialty, you're into the preservation of and research of old documents, you would learn it as a specialty,
Well, then why don't they take the part down at the end of a contract where it says, write your name, your signature, and then print your name?
Well, we had a parent on just this hour on your point. She said, look, my son doesn't know how to sign his name. He just prints it everywhere.
Exactly. I don't know. I guess it's addressed to overkill in the school system. They want to do everything that's so correct, and yet they're forgetting the fundamentals. So, well, thanks, Dan.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you for the call. I love hearing from everyone about what you feel and how you feel about these questions.
Delaware 105.9 News, covering the nor'easter from start to finish.
The flooding is just rushing in. It's flooding the campgrounds as well. They're also, DelDOT's concerned about Route 1, obviously.
The water has become pretty deep, so we're closing the road from Dewey Beach all the way to Bethany Beach.
Broadkill Road on the way into Broadkill Beach, Savannah Road on the way into Lewis onto the beach, both starting to flood.
Local news, always first, on Delaware 105.9.
Hello, Delmarva. Pastor Mike Mills here from Northway Church, Delaware. I want to take a moment and just invite you to tune in every Sunday morning at 7:30 a.m. right here on Delaware 105.9 as I share a weekly message on the journey of life. We'd also love to have you join us. We're having our big relaunch kickoff October 4th. We're located at 22033 Shockley Road, Milford, Delaware, where you can join us each and every Sunday morning at 9:30 and 11 a.m. You can also watch us every Sunday morning at 6:30 a.m. on WBOC Channel 16 at 6:30 a.m. as we have our Northway Church service on TV. A lot of great ways to connect. You can call our church office at 302-422-2029. Northway Church, Delaware, the place to be.
Dave Jones is with us, and love talking to Dave Jones from Atlantic Refrigeration and Air Conditioning. Good morning, Dave.
Good morning, Dan. How we doing?
I'm doing well. You guys are really professional. I've seen your proposals. They're wonderful. And what kind of things do you want to talk about this morning?
Well, we got a lot of stuff going on because heating season, and we're in that shoulder season between cooling and heating. So a lot of people are thinking about their heating. They're looking at their bills. You know, we get a lot of calls with people calling saying, hey, look, I've been thinking about this since last April because last winter was terrible with my heating bills.
Yeah.
I'd like to get something that's more efficient. And that's what we do. We come out, we educate the customer. We tell them about the different choices that are out there. There's not a system out there that we can't make more efficient. I can guarantee that. I mean, unless it's something we just put in. But you got a system out there. Your energy bills are high. You're sick of paying a high energy bill. What a lot of people are doing in this instance are financing systems. And I know on our webpage we have Wells Fargo as a financing outlet for us, but we also have about 5 other financing people we've partnered up with. We have a lot of different financing options. You know, if you call our office, there's all sorts of different ways you can finance the system. Right now we have 72 months same as cash, 0%. I mean, we have all sorts of different stuff going on. So what people are doing is they're financing these systems, and they're literally making the payments, and they're coming out ahead because they're not going to have the energy bill they had last year. So they're really going to make the payments with the savings.
So they ought to call you 856-9300, 856-9300 for service and for the estimate on a new system, right?
That's right. Or check us out on the web. And also, just so everybody knows, a year from now, okay, the geothermal tax credit, the 30% tax credit on geothermal, goes away in December of 2016. Just keep that in mind. So if you're thinking about retrofitting your house to geothermal, or building a new home with geothermal, or doing anything with geothermal and taking advantage of that tax credit, you've got just a little over 1 year left to do it.
Thank you,
so
Dave.
That's been a big thing there.
Got it, Dave Jones. Yeah, man, thank you very much. Atlantic Refrigeration and Air Conditioning. That's Dave Jones. Good to hear you this morning at 856-9300. You can actually just call their office right now. They'll be happy to help you. Look at the time. It's coming up on 8 o'clock at Delaware 105.9.
Local news first on Delaware 105.9.
Delaware 105.9 news, time is 7:59. Good Wednesday morning, everyone. I'm Kelly Steele from the Weather Center. Mix of sun and clouds today, high 72 degrees. Tonight looks clear, an overnight low of 56. Federal health officials say the outbreak of Salmonella puna infections from imported cucumbers has reached Maryland. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention says that brings the total number of affected states to 35. 4 deaths have been reported from Salmonella puna, and more than 700 people have been infected. The salmonella has been found in cucumbers grown in Mexico and distributed by a San Diego company. Residents in the Milford School District approved an operating referendum yesterday. We'll talk more about that, give you the numbers right after CBS News. And the recent nor'easter put a damper on the Rehoboth Beach, Dewey Beach Chamber of Commerce's annual fall sidewalk sale. But guess what? They're going to rerun it the weekend of October 30th to November 1st. From the first town in the first state, this is WXDE Lewis. It's 8 o'clock. Good morning.